Hi guys, today I have something a little bit different for you, but something I wanted to do for a long time already, and that is a getting started on YouTube guide. Because just recently I got a message from someone asking me he wants to start a YouTube channel, how I get my device, at which point he should start contacting companies and all that. But when I saw that, I actually noticed something. He has 0 subscribers and 0 videos, and that is no insult or something like that, but there are a lot of things to consider before you start a YouTube channel, and not even having one video and already asking for a review device and all that is the wrong way. And that's why I thought I had to make a little bit of a completer guide, a more whole thing, because I see so many people already, if they make these getting started on YouTube videos, getting you to help if you have already been started. But if you already even think about starting, there are a lot of things to consider, and I will try to make this guide definitely more realistic. I want to get your hopes up or anything like that, and I want to keep it casual. I have my notes here just so I don't forget the really important stuff, but there is a lot to talk about, and I don't think I will be able to cover it really quickly, because there is so much really important things to talk about. And before you ask yourself, why should I watch a guide from someone who hasn't made it himself yet? He has just about 11,000 subscribers and so on. Keep one thing in mind. The big ones who have already made it, they also know what they have to go through and all that. But I'm in the middle of that. I know what I've done wrong. I know what not to do. I know what to do, even though I sometimes not do it. And maybe this helps you if you are a really new one, because it's a little bit something odd if you get guides or help from someone who has like 1 million subscribers. He already forgot a lot of the early entry issues that you have to face with and what you have to think about it. Of course, a lot of those guides are really helpful, and I based some of my infos on that as well, because I watched a lot of those when I started as well. But I want to give you my take on it, what I think, what I see, and a little bit of a different experience what I had, because if you rise really early, you see things way lighter. So let's just start with the first thing. Why do you want to start YouTube? That is the first question that you have to ask yourself. And here is one. There are like 3 or 4 different choices or why you should do it, or why you plan on doing it. The first one is really easy: make money and become famous. I think that's the wrongest one you could choose, because to that one I say no. Don't do it because of getting famous or making money, because only the really big ones make money. Yes, there are a lot of ones that make a living out of that, but if you will be that one, and I don't want to down you or get your hopes completely wrecked, but most probably won't be the thing unless you're really talented, but then you won't watch this video. So just keep in mind, be realistic about what you want to achieve. The next, maybe one thing: do you want to play with tech and get it for free? If that's your intention, I would say no, that's the wrong way to start. But at some point this could be the case, because if you do it for long enough, make good enough videos, get enough subscribers, then it's the chance for you to get review units. If you get so much for free, that is really up to how important or how famous you are and how much of an recognition you get. Because for example, me, I am doing this for over 2.5 years, and I pretty much don't get anything for free, and if, then it's something for 10-20 bucks. But whole device or something like that, for that you really need a big followership. So this could come in time, but that shouldn't be the intention, because the third point for me, that is the important thing: if you want to share your passion with tech with others, then that is what you should do. Because I started my channel just because of fun. I never planned on making it such a huge time investment, getting review units, asking brands for something. I just started for fun with app reviews, ROM reviews, and the device that I had. And out of this, the passion came. But you need to keep that passion, because one thing you should do: choose fun or success, but stick with that attitude. Because if you plan on doing a channel and getting successful, you always need to keep in mind, I want to be successful, and then you need to be motivated, then you have to push yourself a lot. But if your main intention, for example, like me, is having fun, then it's something completely different. But then you also have to stick with that, because for me it changed. At first it was getting fun, but more and more I noticed I can get review units, I can get brands on board, I want to get stuff, and my channel raises in terms of subscribers. Then at some point it switches to I want to get success, not the kind of success that to make big money and all that, but the kind of success I want even get more brands, I want the devices even faster and all that. So you really have to keep your focus on that, because with fun it's easier to keep it going as long as you enjoy it. Because if it's about the success, less about the enjoyment, then it will be hard to keep your motivation if you don't grow as quick as you would like to. And that is something that a lot of YouTubers will have to go through. I did go through this a few times already. I just wanted to climb even further, even higher, even faster, and it just didn't happen. And so many times I lost my motivation, and that's why you should definitely get a lot of things in check first. The next thing, success could break you early on. If it doesn't work out immediately, you have to be extra strong then. And I really talked a little bit already about that, because don't try to rise too quickly, because you have to manage your expectations, and if you did that, then it can work out. Okay, now let's get to the second thing, how to start. First of all, find the right content. What kind of videos you want to do? Do you want to do guides? Do you want to do discussions? Do you want to do tutorials and or reviews? And that's the thing why you would check this video. I guess you want to do reviews. Really, that's the thing here, and I will talk about that a little bit more in depth a little bit later. So before you start thinking about getting review units from brands and shops, you need a name. You get to sell. You need to get yourself out. People need to know you. People need to respect your opinion or not. Before that, you shouldn't even choose. So make videos with the things you have. So pretty much review all you have that you can get your hands on. Try whatever you find and review that to make a good portfolio that you can actually show those people later. Because you can't just straight up front ask for advice if you have never done anything and didn't show your skills. Because that is the next thing. You need to show off your skills. You need to show off your personality and your style. And you really need to get that done really quickly. Because you need to find what you are planning to do and how you are approaching it. But I will get to that a little bit later. So the next point, don't go out and buy expensive things. Start small with what you have, because of course you could, it's almost impossible if you just try it like that. If you, for example, want to buy the S7 right, like I did, and try to get a early hands-on review, it won't work out, because all the big reviewers, the professional ones, already had that advice for a week, and they will release their video once the embargo has been lifted. And even if you started really early, because I got mine quite early, for the normal people that can buy it, it's not early enough. And in this business, in YouTube, in the tech business, it is still being first or being exceptionally good. So if you don't have the one, you definitely need the other. So keep that in mind. If you have both, you are of course on the secure way. So what do you need to make videos? If you already know that, if you already did a few great shots and you have all the gear and tech, you can skip to the next point. But if you haven't, what do you need? Of course, you need a cam. And a lot of things, if you see those getting started YouTube guides, they tell you one thing. If you have a phone cam, it's good enough. And yes, that absolutely works out if you have something like a Galaxy S6 camera, a G4. Those can make great videos, but you also need to know what you do with them, because something you shouldn't definitely underestimate is the lighting. You first of all have to get your lighting in check. Either you do it outside where you have good sunlight, or you need proper lighting. And this is something that I struggled the most for a long period of time. Now I have a lot of light, and I'm still not always super happy, because if you don't have a proper camera, especially those phone cameras, and you don't have the best light, you have a lot of grain. So keep that in mind. That's why I would say you have to decide one thing for yourself. Are you serious about the channel, or are you planning this to just do this along, maybe along the school? And then with that, because if you take it serious, then you should invest the money and buy a camera, a quite good one. Maybe you should already go on the 4K track, but it's not necessary. I still record in 1080p, which is totally fine for me. But this is the one thing. If you want to plan, and no matter what, you plan on doing it for a longer period of time, invest the money. It will be a good purchase after a time. You can even buy something a little bit lower that just makes it easier to get things done. But if not, yeah, keep that in mind. If you just plan on doing it sometimes every now and then, it's not maybe worth spending the gear. The next thing would be a microphone. You definitely need that. Either get a lavalier mic, but I think only the really expensive ones are really that good, because I bought one for $60 where a lot of people said it's already good and it's decent. But there are so many options, and you have to decide what you do, because if you do videos that are scripted, then you need something that is good for voiceovers, like for example this one would be. But if you shoot something the other way, there are so many options. But get a good microphone. That is really, really important. The next thing, you need a video editing machine, that's for sure. So you need either a laptop or a PC, and you don't have to buy the most expensive editor first. If you never used one, go with a trial, for example, Cyberlink Editor or something like a Power Director. Use it for 30 days, decide if it works for you at first, because you shouldn't go out and just start Adobe Premiere or go out. Final Cut is actually something that you can buy because it's not super expensive if you are on a Mac, and it works out really, really good. A lot of pro YouTubers use it, but don't go out and buy Adobe just now. Use the subscription or so, but definitely make use of a trial and see what works for you, at least for now. And it depends on your skills. The next thing would be practice. You need a lot of practice to get videos perfectly done. Especially at first, I needed so many videos until my video quality was halfway decent, the sound was halfway decent, the editing was halfway okay. I needed really a long time, and definitely take time to practice. If you don't have the skills already, it just can take a while, and that is okay, because you are in the getting started phase, you are learning, so it's absolutely fine. Okay, so the next point would be point 4. Okay, so now you know how to make videos, you have made a good few videos, what now? Okay, the thing is, my next point would be, if you don't already have a good name, pick one that you won't regret soon. Because I see a lot of the younger YouTubers, they always use something like tech this, tech that, phones, tablets, all with that in the name, which is a good solution. Personally, a lot of the more older ones that are already in business just use their names, what I ever did, because I never planned to make this a not professional but more engaged tech channel, and that's why I stick with my name, and I could never personally choose a really good name that I wouldn't regret after a while. So really think hard about it. If you want something that's not your name, think a lot and hard that you get the right name, because already the name can make quite a big perception of what someone else who sees that gets, if he sees it. Because if I see a silly name to be a tech channel, I don't really give too much about it. And if I see a name, it's definitely already worth checking out, because that doesn't at least lead you maybe in a wrong direction. So keep that in mind. Make social profiles to keep the interaction with the viewer going, because that's quite important. At least for me, it was always important to be in interaction with my viewers, get the comments and all that done. So that's something I think you should do, definitely, because it can make up for that. The next thing is share your videos wherever you can. It's free and it doesn't hurt. Not more to say here. Stay patient. Views won't come out of nowhere. It can take a while to get noticed. This is the hardest thing to maybe get around, because some people make the best videos out there. They make so great videos, but they just don't get the recognition from the outside. People just don't know about them. They just don't see them. And this is something that you will have to live with at first, because either you review a really low-end product that no one else does, but there is quite a high demand, you review that, or you get a really early hands-on to get those views. But if you don't, if you just get a device like everyone else, do a review like everyone else, and it doesn't particularly stick out for something, it can take a while to get those views from the outside, but you have to live with that. You have to attack that, and that is fine. So don't bother too much about it at the first. The next thing, the better the content, the better are your chances, of course. If you make high quality productions and people just quickly check through that, because if the people don't see a big channel that has like 500,000 subscribers, which they always see once they click the video, almost always, then a first good intro or a first good appearance can make quite a big objective, because I'm pretty sure if someone sees my video, he sees that looks very amateurish, I don't really give too much about that, and then he ignores it. So that's why you should try to make really nice and polished content if you want to get recognition. The next thing would be, now work hard, keep calm, do your best, and don't lose your motivation. I think that pretty much sums it up. Let's get to the next point. So you have all to make videos. You have now I guess you want to know how to get review units, and that was the main intention why I got the message and what I wanted to ask for. So let's get your expectations clear. Don't expect stuff for free unless it's super cheap. So expect at best for the first time review loaders, because I still only get review loaders. I always have to return everything. And that is fine with me, because all I want to do is get the tech in my hands, review it. That is good for me. But if you plan just to make videos to get those things for free and keep them, that is definitely the wrong intention. So think about that. First of all, don't expect anyone approaching you that's worthwhile until you are about 5,000 subscribers. That's just a rough estimate. It's something because only Chinese shops and maybe scammers would approach you, because in the early times I got not that much, but it was only Chinese brands that really tried to get out their really cheap products. So don't think anyone will approach you. If you are a big one, then they will come to you, but so far pretty much no one ever got to me that had something proper to offer. Okay, sorry, I'm back again. Something came up for a sec, but let's get back to where we ended. Who to contact? Press agency or brands directly. So, okay, now I can only talk from my experience here in Germany, because what I did at first, I did contact the brands itself, but afterwards, in most of the case, I'm actually in contact with the press agency and not really at all anymore with brands. This could be completely different in different countries, and that's just what I see. So, what you should maybe do is go to the homepage of the brand and check that if you can find maybe some press agency relation, and if you can find those, that's already a help, because from what I see so far, at least in my case, press agency are way more approachable because they are way easier if you have something to offer that actually give you something. If it's a brand, they most times not even respond if you don't have really something to offer. So just keep that in mind. And when should you start contacting companies? That really depends on what you are going for. Because if it's a small company that makes like cases or so, you can start it right early on, even below 1,000. But just from my standpoint, I started at the first company that I approached was Dell, and I was slightly over 1,000 subscribers. So that's just a rough mark. You could do it earlier, but at least maybe you don't have to need, or you don't need that many subscribers, but you need a good portfolio of videos that you can show off for people to see what you could offer. And the next thing, you need a good bunch of solid videos. The more subs, the better. But great videos with many views and likes could make up for it. It's important to make yourself a name, even if it's just a small one. Be likable. That says it pretty much all. Then the amount of necessary subs and views could vastly differ by your style, country, or even your age. The younger you are, the more you have to prove yourself, because usually they would think it's just a kid who wants to play with tech for free. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, I was lucky early on with slightly over 1,000 to get something from Dell, and now I am quite high on their list to get the devices, because they noticed he always gives the device back in time, makes solid reviews, always good in contact, and they want to like that. And you always have to show the company what you could actually offer them, because this is something that Linus Tactics talk about because he made a video this week when he talked about how they get their devices for free, and that was kind of a guide for people. And he was a little bit more on the negative side actually, because he said you really have to show them what you could offer the company, and you have to have a brand recognition, so people actually, you have some, how did he point it out, you need to be someone who's influential to other people, and they want to see that. But he made it almost sound a little bit too negative in some parts, because it's a little bit hard what he explained. So yeah. The next thing, easy rule: scripted videos are more popular than unscripted videos. Unscripted ones are more personal and could bring you closer to the audience. Find a good balance and stay honest. That's the one thing for me. If you want to get successful quite easy, and you can do this really well, do scripted videos. Personally, I don't do it so much because I never really got the hang of it. I never really liked the process of all of it, so that's why I never did it. For me, I want to get more into the contact with the viewer, want to be more approachable and see more honest, and for me that's just easier doing it unscripted. But that is something that you definitely have to decide for yourself. It's definitely easier if you do it properly to get recognition if you do scripted videos. That's just what it is. It's a little bit disappointing, but it's really hard to do it unscripted these days, and I see this so many times. Now the next thing would be find context to write. Start small, but maybe try bigger ones. At least it can't hurt. Contacting companies, not sure how, but here's what I do: short and compact intro. So what you should do is just tell them, give them a little bit of an intro, what you have to offer, what you are. Tell them your name, tell them you have, for example, a blog, tell them you have a video channel, and then tell them you are interested in tech. And then it's really important, I think, at least that's what so many YouTubers tell you, to tell them what you can offer them. This is something that I personally never really did. What I pretty much do in every email is say, my name is Damir, I have a YouTube channel, do all sort of tech related videos like smartphones, tablets, notebooks and all that. and I would really like to get review devices, and maybe I ask for a specific device. And so far, in the cases that it worked for me, it worked. So far I have like, let's say roughly 10 or 12 brands on board that I get devices on. But you also have to consider one thing: I get those devices, but I'm definitely not early on this list, so I always have to wait a little bit longer. The bigger I would be, the earlier I would get them. So just because you get something doesn't really mean you don't maybe have to wait quite a while. So keep that in mind. But that's usually what I do. I can't really tell you so much more about that. The next thing is, write to as many as possible if you think you deserve it. So you shouldn't maybe approach a super high-end company right from the start if you don't really think this is the kind of content you offer that they already want to see. Because if you're doing really low-end amateurish videos, I don't think someone like Apple will give you any device, or Samsung or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Don't lose hope if it doesn't work out at first. Stay calm and patient. That's the one thing you always have to be aware of. Be patient, it can take a while. Okay, the next thing, try visiting events and tech shows to meet the persons in contacts. That is really, really important, something I didn't get to either though. Because if you have some trade shows, or if you have some events or tech related where you can get in contact in person with those brands, or maybe the press agencies, and they see you in person, they see you are a likable person, they see how much you're interested, that could make things a lot easier. And that's why I will try this year to go to IFA to get those contacts that I don't have, because finding those contacts is really, really hard. Because so many times I asked companies to get their devices to review, but never did. And then, knowing a few people in the business, I sometimes got a few emails from press agencies, and once I contacted them, it was quite easy. So I could have saved me a lot of time if I would have just gotten the contact. So it's really, really important from the start on, even if that, to maybe, and that really helps if you have someone who already makes a YouTube channel, has a lot of contacts, maybe ask him once in a while if he can share one with them, because it doesn't really hurt him. And usually a press agency makes it quite easy for you. At least in my case, that was it. The next thing, if you can't review tech of yours, don't get anything. You could try expanding your channel in the meantime. Make guides, Q&As and all that. So what I mean is, if you want to review tech devices, but just don't get anything from brands yet, review all the stuff you had. And in the time you just don't have anything, if you don't buy something new, try to make app reviews, software reviews, guides, tutorials, discussion videos, all those things, and maybe get a few more subscribers that way. That's what I did, and I personally enjoyed a lot. I don't think they make up so much in terms of my subscribers or really help the channel. Sometimes they actually even hurt it if you do the wrong stuff. But keep in mind, this can be something still interesting that makes fun and could make up for the time you wait for something. The next thing, reply to comments, but be prepared for nasty ones. Yeah, that's definitely something you should do. At least, and the first you have the time to reply to comments, so do that. But don't really get too much upset if you get really nasty ones at first, because if you are new, people just don't like new and they try to bash it, especially if you maybe aren't the super most likable person in the world. The next thing, I won't tell you to ignore them. It doesn't work, believe me. Yeah, it doesn't help, if I would say, because so many times when I complain, oh man, I got a bad comment, people say to just ignore him. And I just saw a discussion, I'm not quite sure where it was, on some kind of podcast, where someone says people who say ignore the bad comments. I think it was Tech Talk or Weekly with Jay's 2 Cents and Barnacle. And they said, if you have never had a YouTube channel with that many subscribers or doing it that long, you don't know what you're talking about, because so many times you just can't ignore that. And they are completely right. At first, when I started, I said, yes, ignore them. It's super easy. But once you're into all that and you put a lot of passion behind your work and then get negative comments, you can't ignore it. It just doesn't work. So the next point would be, what now? Keep making consistent content. Stay active, even if it doesn't seem to get you anywhere. Stay honest. Says pretty much all. The next thing, everyone started small. The few big rising stars are the exception because of incredible talent or super hard work. Don't get discouraged by them. Check the smaller ones around you and try to get in contact with them. That is something that you should always be. At first, try to check the channels that are in your ballpark. Look at the smaller ones, look how well they do, look at what they do and how they do it. Maybe try to approach them, maybe make collaborations and all that. That could definitely help to set you the real proper mind space. Because what I did way too early, when I was at way below 10,000 subscribers, I watched at all the channels at around 100,000, 200,000, even got in contact with them. For example, people like Beginner's Tech or Juan Carlos Bagnell, from who is now at Pocket Now, also Kevin the Tech Ninja. And when I see them rising so fast, I always wanted to keep the same pace, but I'm just not on that level. So maybe that was a little bit wrong, being too close in contact with them, trying to rise as fast. If I had stayed with smaller channels at around my ballpark, I would have had the same expectations. I would see what they do and how they compare with me, and that should be the thing that I should compare myself to, and not the big ones, because they all of them that I just mentioned before make way better content than I do. So of course they rise way bigger. That's the reason why Juan Carlos Bagnell, for example, switched from a channel with 40,000 subscribers, his own personal one, to Pocket Now with way over 1 million now, because he makes great content. If I would do that, I would also raise way earlier, but I just don't. But it's okay. So the next thing would be, where was I? Yeah, build a brand if you want success. Don't do it if it's just for the fun alone. So I personally don't really build a brand about myself, because I do it for the fun, and I never really did so much press stuff or social media related stuff in the background to really bring my channel up. That was something that I personally chose just not to do. Then keep doing what you're doing, get better by more practice and harder work. That's just what you have to do. Either practice more or work harder to get better, and at some point it will have to pay out, at least if you aren't as bad as I am. Point number 7, it's easy to say things like this, but the one thing to keep in mind is why you actually started or where you started. So if it's the money and fame driving you, you won't keep it up for long if it's no instant success. I think that says pretty much it's all. If it's the passion though that really drives you, people see the real passion, but so do haters. So yeah, that's also that. The eighth point would be hardest obstacles. What are the things, if you are planning on doing a channel, that you have to get over or live with for quite a while until you made it? Let's talk about those. Slow growth. This is something that really hurts a lot of them, and it was often the point for me that made it so hard. It almost made me quit so many times. Lack of positive feedback, for sure. The more positive feedback you get, the more it just inside gives you the appreciation from others, and that really motivated. That was very important for me to early on get in contact with nice people. That just pushed me up so many times. Negative feedback, of course, getting rejected from brands. If you get out so many mails, get out so many attempts, and just don't get anything back, they say either no or they just don't respond at all, that can be very hard, but you have to get over that. And then the hardest obstacle is keep being motivated. So that's why I said, if you really plan on just to do it for the fun and passion that you have, then it definitely is worth it, and then it's easier to be motivated. Because so many times I wanted to stop, I was down because the channel didn't climb anymore, but every time sometimes I already did stop for a few days, and then I said, man, I really like to do this. I haven't done a video for 3 days anymore. I just need to do it. And that was the passion inside me, and also a little bit of an addiction, just having to succeed, at least for myself. If I don't maybe succeed on a big outside level, I have to succeed for myself, because I'm doing this channel, and everyone does a YouTube channel in the expectations to grow. Otherwise, why would you do it? Except this is just sometimes for fun, and that really drives me still. Otherwise, this channel wouldn't be on the radar for a long time already. Now, point number 9, how to keep it up. Grow a very thick skin, a very thick one. You just have to keep everything in check and just have to bounce on so many stuff. So it's definitely hard to grow a thick skin. Then deal with problem and with haters instead of ignoring them. Otherwise, it just will eat you up from the inside. It's really like that, because so many times I wanted to ignore them, but it's always in the back of your head. You hear what he said and it bugs you. So this can be hard. So address it early on. Either make a kind of nifty comment that sets him still or do something like that. Find your way, because what I do, I'm getting quite early pissed and I get quite hard even early on, but that's really a thing for everyone. So find your group of people motivating you and giving you appreciation. That's priceless and can make all the difference in the world. Like I already mentioned before, if I wouldn't have the people who would have kept me up, I wouldn't have this channel anymore for a long period of time. It's not so much the lack of the success or if things go up well, it's really the people that give you the recognition and the appreciation. That's really important. Then just keep doing what you love. Don't stop, just don't stop. So if you really love it, if you really started this channel for this reason, keep going. Even if it maybe for a few months doesn't seem to get you anywhere, do it. Who knows, at some point maybe one channel or one brand or anyone will see you and say, wow, this guy is great, he's great, and then he gives you maybe a retweet or a reshare, and this can make all the difference in the world. If, for example, a 500,000 subscriber channel sees your content, finds it good, maybe reshares it on Reddit, Google+, on Twitter, people see you, this can be big. Then, if you have made it that far, all I can do is wish you good luck. Ask me anything, I hope I can help. So this video is already about 30 minutes long, and to really sum it up, if you are just getting back to the early initial question of how to get to devices, if I see your channel, and I hope I didn't click a wrong content, but if I see a channel with 0 subscribers and 0 videos asking me he wants to do a YouTube channel and how to get review units, at when point to approach companies, I think that's, as hard as it sounds, and I don't want to be there, as the wrong approach, because you shouldn't get into YouTube with that thinking first. First of all, you need content. You need to make videos, no matter what about. You need to show your skills, you need to show something. And then after a few months, or at least after a dozen, 2 dozen of videos showing that your content is good, then you should think about approaching companies. Don't make the channel to say, now I have a channel, because there was also one question someone asked me, how can I get this and this device, because I see you had it, and I said yes, it was a press review unit, and he said give me that company, and or the press agency, I can contact them and ask them for myself, and I said it doesn't work like that. I built up the contact with the company, I built up the channel, I have a blog that I could show off my content, and then they decide if they want to give you something or not. And if you don't have even a channel or even a blog that shows what your skills are, why should they give you something? You really have to offer something first. You always have to offer something first before you can even think about getting something from anyone. Because how does the company know that you are any good and that they would have any benefit from giving you out devices? It's really like that. The good thing here is at least press agencies in Germany don't really seem to care that much about the quality or what you actually say, because from what I get in terms of feedback, it could have been the case that they never even saw one of my videos and they just give me the devices because they see the channel is okay, the guy seems legit, why not? And after a few attempts it maybe builds up a relationship, but without all that first, it's pretty much impossible. So I'm not really quite sure what to say anymore, and I will close the laptop because my notes are done. What you can do is now watch the video, think about if you have many further questions, and if a lot of more questions come up, I will maybe make an additional video to address those. But so far I think I did a quite in-depth getting started video, and I did really want you to stay realistic. I didn't want to bash your dreams, I didn't want to get your hopes up either. Be realistic, be what you want, because I see this from a standpoint doing this for 2.5 years, and it's a hard thing. You really, if you are really a young person, because I guess he was definitely below 20 years old, you just maybe aren't mature enough to see things the proper way. I am 34 now, doing this still for the fun, but also from kind of an addiction, trying to get even more brands on board, and it's super hard for me still. And that's why you should early on already know what to expect, because so many YouTubers give you the guides, and it sounds very easy sometimes. What Linus did was actually quite not even that wrong, because he crushed a lot of dreams too very early on from those who should get their hopes crushed, because he said if you just want devices to play with, just things for free, Boom, it doesn't work like that. And it's actually not wrong, because the people who want to play with those devices because of their passion make videos about that. They say, okay, he said that, but I'm gonna make it, and that is the important thing. And that's why his video was quite good. It's for maybe a few people that are maybe on the verge, it could have been a little bit too hard, but in overall he did a quite good job, and I can't really give him any more appreciation. So I am done. Like I said, you can also give me a video of a fun subscript, blah, 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 all that. I've covered it long enough, and I hope this was kind of helpful. Leave it in the comments to me, because I really liked to make, or really wanted to make this video to give something back to my viewers who are maybe YouTubers in the beginning, just to show how hard it can be, but also how appreciative I am that you watch these videos. So I am pretty much done for the day. I wish you a very nice day. Until next time, bye.